will stop here immediately and return to the starting point. At this moment, the customer need to, if the customer keep buying the product by inserting the wheel con, then it will come to the second situations. If the inserted cons are real, then the cons will go to the shorting area inside the con, inside the machines, and separated different types of cons into different columns, and the amount of con will be recorded to the program. And then the program will calculate the sums of con by adding up the data that recorded before. But this moment, if customer insert not enough amount of con to buy any product, then the program will temporarily stop here until the customer insert more money to restart the program. And this moment, if customer insert more real money that with enough amount to buy the product, then come to the situation 3. This moment, all corn are real and with enough amount to buy the product, the button outside the machine will be light up, and which given a sign that the customer, the program are successfully run, and they can choose their product they want to buy by pressing the button or inputting the number to the machines, and the program will receive the value that the customer input, and the motor inside the machine will receive the instruction and push out the product that the customer chose, and then the product will push out to the taking area of the machine, and the program will end here, and the whole buying process will be complete. After knowing how does the vending machine works, don't you think that the program and the running process behind the machine actually is very simple and easy? And I think everyone can try to think what product they can sell via the vending machines, or even write their own vending machine program. And because I think that vending machines is a good platform for people for starting their own business. That's why our team decided a vending machine which aims to help people refill their sanitizers for our own products, and hope you guys will look forward to our project. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing.
Hello.
Okay, let's see if students have any questions. Yeah. Make good use of our chat room. So that's well, our representatives might answer your questions. Questions? Okay. So this is about materials, right? Okay. Next question.
Materials, there are magnets inside the vending machines, and to detect the magnetic fields between different material and the magnet, and it can sense it cannot sense different cons material, but it can sense is the correct material.
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay.
It's the cost of vending machine. I don't actually know the amount, but I think it's the most cheapest ways, because it's do not need any human resource while operating the machines. It's only you only need to set up and write a program and setting up of things and need little maintenance cost. So I think it's more cheaper than us renting a store to selling things.
I think in the future the designs will be can be modified, right, with the use of more say plastic monies, right? Okay, instead of coins.
Yes.
And yeah, I guess
I think other than selling snacks or drinks, it can use the in more way to sell more different
items.
products.
Yeah. All right. So thanks so much for sharing. Wonderful. Yeah, we look forward to your team's second presentation, giving us more ideas about the new design. Right. Okay. Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thanks a lot. The next team, are you ready?
Yeah, we are ready.
Good. Oh, I guess should be. I mean, is it Season's teams first or your teams first? I have no idea. Well,
yeah. It's my team first. First.
Sorry.
Zero. Okay. Well, we look forward to yours. All right. Okay. Yeah. So your team. Yes. Time to you. All right. Over to you.
So good morning. Our group is going to work on a music device for the deaf named Emulsify, which means we will change the sound wave into vibrations, allowing the deaf to experience music in a different way. So I'll pass the time to Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet all of you can hear that, yeah.
I'm wondering whether we have a DJ there. Okay, thank you. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Wake us up. Good.
Yeah, somebody needs some wake up for morning.
Wake up call. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so let me start. Yeah, you can see it, right?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So I'm talking about how we can hear. In the market, there are various types of speakers or sound units, as you like. So let's do a brief voting for the types of speaker you like. Is it A, some portable Bluetooth speaker, or B, some wired professional grade studios, or C, some wireless earphones, in-ear earphones, D, or some expensive in-ear monitors? Let's see. Hey, where's the chat box? Yeah. Ooh. So many. Oh, yeah. For myself, oh shit. For myself, I love all of them because I love music, no matter how the way is presented. So you will see a lot of speakers or sound units in different places, like on the stage here. Yeah, we got some gigantic speakers, like some subwoofers and some different units, like that for the whole field, like in a ballpark. Yeah. So how can we hear that? Let's start from our ears. Our ears is like this. Everyone knows that in the Form 3 biology class. In brief, the sound waves travels through the ear canal and goes to the eardrum, vibrates it, and the ossicles amplify the vibration and goes to the auditory nerve. Yeah, that's boring. So like this, much better for engineering students. The wave of the sound wave is some longitudinal wave where the median in the waves are air. Yeah, like their compression and retraction. Yeah, so we can hear. But how does a speaker or those sound units provide these longitudinal waves? Very basic. In a speaker like treble, middle, bass unit, and the PCB and the wire connection port, there are some magnetic coils in the cone, and then move the diaphragm, just how you see this and this. But you may say, in ACD, I don't see any diagrams, so how does that work? Now let me show you. This is also a speaker. You may say, what the but it uses similar logic like the magnetic force and the diaphragm, but in fact the diaphragm is right here, not at the front, but right here. It's connected to a metal in the sound outlet, so any vibration move due to the electric driver and the coil will move it and provide vibration for the sound outlet. Yeah, let's show in a different picture. There are coils on the upper half and bottom half of the case, and also some permanent magnets. Yes, and the core just vibrate up and down and vibrates the membrane and brings the sound out. Yes, in those in-ear monitors, most of them are using the sound speakers, like the way I just showed. But there's also some like the traditional one, so you may see it in a very round shape and like this. For this, this is it's more rectangular and like this. But there's a new trend of sound units. It's called the electrostatic speaker. Yeah. It uses two panels, two metal plates, and inputs the audio signal and move the membrane, magnetic membrane left and right to produce sound. Yes. But what do we know now? All sound devices have a diaphragm that vibrates, no matter by a magnetic force or electrostatic force. So let me talk more about what it connects to our project. That means the people who are deaf and how do they feel the music vibes. In the Northern East University in Boston, different human parts have different sensitivity of vibrations. You may not see it very clearly in the diagram, but like this. There's an illustration showing that it enlarges the parts we are most sensitive of, like our hands, our tongues, and our head. So our device will use some motors that vibrates and put them on the most sensible part on a human body, yes, to provide the music vibes. So that's all of my brief introduction and presentation. Is there any question for me? Yes.
What would be the challenges when you think about the design after sharing some technical designs with us?
I would like. It's all about how the strength of the vibration and the portability. Yes, nobody wants to wearing a gigantic vest that has motors on it, but we would like to think is take a balance of a very tiny machine that people has done it before, but we like to have one that has enough power for the deaf people to feel the vibes and also keep the portability. Yes.
Yeah, let's explore more. We look forward to your group's presentations introducing the new design, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Hello.
Over to the next speaker. Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
How
Hi.
is it the PowerPoint is on the screen?
Yeah, no problem at all. Perfect.
Oh, I haven't switched on standby.
Take your time. Hi.
Hello. It's
Yeah, you may start anytime.
okay. Let's start now. And good morning. I'm going to introduce analog digital to analog converter that is simply called DAC. And before the presentation, let's think about. I mean, I ask you a question. Have you ever thought why we can listen to the music and watch the video on the electronic devices? And in the following presentation, I'm going to introduce something related to this question, and I hope you can be more familiarized with this topic. So in this presentation, I'm going to include the basic background about the signal and then something more about DAC that, for example, is structure, working principle, and its limitation. So what is signal? And in our world, there are mainly two signals, which is digital signal and analog signal. And both signal can be observed by our eyes. And the digital signal, it can be divided as the discrete values 0 and 1. For example, the data stored in the smartphones and the computers. For the analog signal, it has the continuous quantity, such as my voice, this PowerPoint slide, or even the temperature of your room. So what is DAC? DAC is an electronic component that convert digital data to analog signal. Imagine you are watching a YouTube video on your smartphones or your computer. Your computer or smartphones keeps getting data from the YouTube server. However, these data are just 0 and 1, which is the discrete data, so we cannot understand this data. Then a DAC in the electronic devices convert this data into audio and video so that we can enjoy this video and listen to the music or the voice of the video. And maybe you will ask, is DAC a small or big and complicated component? It is a very complicated component. However, it also has small size and big size. For example, the smaller size is used in the small devices such as smartphones. For the bigger size, it's used in the speakers and CD players. And usually, the bigger size provide higher sound quality and it is more professional for the users. And this is the schematic drawing of the basic structure of the DAC. As you see that there are resistor, operational amplifier, which is the triangle in this part, and some switches in the circuit. And most of them are combined into an expression. What is sound measure? Yes, it's decibel. As you see in this graph, the number of squares are represent the bit depth, and the red line is the original analog signal, and the black line is the discrete generator signal. And as you see there are more square, which is the bit depth on the DAC. The discrete generator signal can be near to the original analog signal, so that the bit depth actually affect the resolution of the generator sound And if there are more bit depth, the generated signal can be near to the original sound. And the other factors is the sampling frequency. And most of the DAC have sampling frequency with 44.1 kilohertz. And why is this specific number? Because human hearing range is between 20 hertz and 20 kilohertz. So if the sampling frequency rate is too low, we can identify the discontinuous of the discrete digital signal. So the past scientists discovered that the sampling frequency should be the double of the maximum hearing range, which is 20 kilohertz times 2 is 40 kilohertz. No matter how many no matter how many sampling frequency and bit depth in the DAC, degradation, delay, gain error, offset error, and noise must appear in the generated signal, so that the output signal is not the perfect one. And also the expensive cost of the DAC is also its limitation, because the smaller size or the more, if you want to provide a more higher quality sound or video, the cost of the DAC is also high. In conclusion, I'm covered the DAC functions, working principle, and its limitation. However, if you may want to know that is there analog to digital converter in our work, if you get interested in this topic, you can explore it. And this is my presentation. Thank you. Is there any Q&A?
Feel free to share your questions.
Yeah.
AMP. Sorry, is there the complete name of AMP? The AMP, in my knowledge, is the DAC is just it provides the function that convert the digital signal to analog signal. However, the AMP it should be provide a more high sound quality than the DAC. Basically, they may be the same. They have the same function, but AMP have provide high sound quality. The DAC in the phone is sorry. The DAC in the phone has a lower quality sound, have convert the lower sound quality than other devices. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for your sharing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. You may explore more. Indeed. Good.
Yeah, the next one will be me, but wait a sec. Oh, sorry. Never mind. Yeah, I got some reason to wear the glasses. My eyes kind of got some problems, so yeah, don't worry. I'll take off the glasses for a while. Yeah, wait a sec. Oh, by the way, so I need some time to prepare way up. Okay. All right, there we go. So can I start now?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So give me 2 seconds. So yeah, hello everyone. So I'm going to talk about the Bluetooth. Yeah, I know everyone thinks that Bluetooth is a common knowledge to the modern society, but the first time when I use a mobile phone, I didn't know the word Bluetooth or even the word Wi-Fi existing in my knowledge. So the reason that I heard the word Bluetooth for the first time is that my parents told me that Bluetooth was the only available means to play some mobile app games during that time, and I think I can bring you guys further details on this common knowledge. So I'm going to talk about the Bluetooth origin, the application in modern days, properties, problems, and some conclusions to the topic Bluetooth today more detailedly. So most people know the word Bluetooth, but they never know why or how is it named as Bluetooth. So it was based on a Denmark king whose name is Harold Brayton Gormson. His legacy was bringing Christianity into Denmark. The word Breton in Danish, it means broken tooth. However, since there's no such an English word that can replace the Danish meaning in this, they use the word Bluetooth instead to be this replacement. So the name maker and the Bluetooth inventor himself also come from Denmark, and his name is Sven Matthisen himself. Considering he also loves eating blueberry, and the king that's named based on his name also loves eating blueberry, I see it's kind of suitable to think that Bluetooth and blueberries are named as the title of the product and the brand. So is it funny? I need your participation, please. Please type in the chat if you think this is funny. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I don't think you guys trying to. Yeah, all right. Then move on to the next part. So after receiving his PhD in 1986, he engaged in the invention of a multi-communication connection scheme. So his team made the first delves of the Bluetooth in 1994, but actually the official product came out in 1998. So the goal is to reduce the use of lines and plugs to connect the mobile devices and have a wireless network with low cost and high efficiency. So if you think that the infrared technology is kind of having some contradiction with the Bluetooth existence, so they're not the same and they don't have the same function at all. I will explain that in detail later on. So Bluetooth have the essential elements in modern technology. We are using the mobile phone apps now, and the mouse that we have been using, they are based on Bluetooth. But if you are talking about the remote control that controls the TV, no, it's not using the Bluetooth. It's actually using infrared technology. And Bluetooth is irreplaceable in modern technology. So you may think that how Bluetooth works. So they have a Bluetooth transmitter and a Bluetooth receiver. At the same time, they have a human interface device and a serial port profile, which has the address of 48 bits, and the ID identifier has a demo value in the ID of the address. So first of all, it may seem to have the same function with the Wi-Fi if you are talking about Bluetooth. I mean, they are meant to be connecting the mobile device each other, but they have the same frequencies. However, Bluetooth is inferior in range and the strength of signals is inferior as well, but Wi-Fi will be interfered by the environment. You may talk about, for instance, the obstacles like the walls or the network congestion caused by massive user flow in lanes. But Bluetooth won't have such problems since they have the frequency keep transferring to each other between 2004 and 2 megahertz and 2480 megahertz. So they have the same frequency with Wi-Fi, but they can switch each other from time to time. And the second problem, second thing is that they don't work like the infrared technology. They don't have to be point-to-point interaction, and their power is basically smaller than the laser light. So the laser light is also one of the infrared technology as well. So they have the lowest power consumed compared to other technologies. So in case you are wondering why Bluetooth deserves to be well known and acknowledged in details, I would like to give you the advanced knowledge beyond the normal ones. It is no doubt that Bluetooth is inferior to Wi-Fi or other similar functions, but if there is no Bluetooth, you will have to link up so many cables at your home with other technological objects. And Bluetooth, if you're using alone without sharing links or to other personnel, it is extremely comfortable on its own. So the cost and the comfortable are the advantage if you compare to the others. There's a giant network hardware giants at the time, Nokia. They are still using Bluetooth in their products. The reason that why they use their products is because, first of all, they think that wireless Bluetooth speaker, just like here, you may talk about that. The security is kind of simple compared to the Wi-Fi and other similar technologies. They have a bright future, easy to use, and it uses tiny powers that could bring two devices that have small meters between them. They also have the two-way communication protocol, a chip and for the two-way communication between devices, the frequency hopping spectrum for transmitting data, they are used to transmit the radio signals by rapidly switching frequencies with every data transmitted on every frequency of the spectrum. So they would, as I talked about, they don't interfere with other devices during the connection, and they have 48 bits different addresses when they are doing the connection. But with these advantages, they got some problem as well. So first of all, there may be bootjacking, which means that the hijacking when you're using the Bluetooth, hackers may hijack the Bluetooth to your personal data and steal some of your privacy for the illegal purposes. Also, Bluetooth may have unknown effects on human health, which may can say you don't know what harms they can do to your body. And Wi-Fi is more commonly used in internet connection. You seldom see Bluetooth is used in internet connection, but somehow they can. But let's just say that these problems have their own solving solution. They have their own solutions. So if you are talking about bootjacking, how do we solve it? Is that you don't have to really link up to the others to use the internet, despite it has a slow speed on the connection. And about the health issue, you don't have to engage in the use of the Bluetooth too often since you are using Wi-Fi all the time. And about Wi-Fi is commonly used, Bluetooth is so essential in other technologies like the medical technologies we have been developing nowadays. They are in a small range, but they are precise and critical as well. So we have come to a conclusion. Bluetooth is required as part of the modern technology, and they have the importance in the future technological development. Even though they have their faults, we still have to rely on it. But understanding Bluetooth functions in depth to recognize how our lives is so easier because of it, we have to understand that it's unique and it's worth being more familiar in their knowledge. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, does anyone else have a question? So in case you guys are wondering that, hey, do I really have the real thing on the Bluetooth that I've been working on? So yeah, I just bought a Bluetooth earphone myself, and I did some investigation on it. So basically, what I said here is kind of true for that. I mean, yeah, I just wanted to listen to you guys' presentation of a few minutes ago, and I use a Bluetooth the function so that I can hear it more properly and more clearly. You don't really like to keep your speaker very, very loud when you're listening to a presentation, you may disturb the others. But if you're talking about Bluetooth, yeah, it can transmit the sound wave and the audio stream very precise, and actually it's convenient to do so.
Okay, that's a question. Have a look.
All right. What's new with Bluetooth 5.2? So I will have to say that my table is kind of outdated from now on because we have the Bluetooth 8.0 version or even above already. So what I brought to this table, it may be outdated, but I'm comparing in the 2010s compared to now 2020s. It's kind of outdated. Yeah, I understand. I apologize for that. But Bluetooth 5.2, what's new about that is that the security compared to the previous editions, the version in the previous ones, they have the advanced security compared to the Wi-Fi and other technologies. Yeah, does anyone else have a question?
Thanks so much. Okay, thank you very much for your sharing. Great. All right. Okay. Okay, I have a question that is, okay, is a kind reminder is 11:17 right now. So the next speakers, do you have any back-to-back lessons at 11:30? I'm wondering whether it's fine for you to finish your presentation right now. Yes. If no, let me know. Yeah, hi.
Hi.
What do you think?
Yes,
Would you like to do it right now? Or, I mean, I'm open. Okay, I would like to listen to you first. Well, give some ideas about your situation before we move on. Or, yeah.
Yes, I'm okay for doing it today.
Yeah, sure. That would be great. I'm fine as well. Yeah, for the ones, okay, as I said, if you got your back-to-back lessons at 11:30, no problem, no pressure. You know, I mean, well, you might go at any time. Yeah. So over to you. Yep. Great. Hi. Good. You may start at any time. That's great.
So hi, this is the 3D printed box that my group mates and I designed in a homework last year. I also have it today here. This is the first 3D printed object that I created and owned, and it's also the starting point for my journey of seeking knowledge about 3D printing. Now, does anyone recognize what shoes is this? Yes, it's the sneaker from Adidas Futurecraft 4D collection. Adidas aims to produce customized midsole of these shoes in the future using digital light synthesis technique developed and owned by a company named Carbon. Which brings us to today's topic, digital light synthesis DLS 3D printing. I'll be talking about the basic mechanism of DLS 3D printing, the application of this technology and its benefits. So DLS is a kind of resin-based 3D printing process, which means by using UV light, the liquid plastic is converted into solid objects. Here, the light engine will project a series of UV images of the cross-section of the design, causing the resin to be partially cured. There's oxygen inside the oxygen-permeable window area, allowing a thin layer of uncured resin between the printed part and the window, which is named the dead zone. It's only half of human hair's thickness. Pretty impressive, right? The curing of resin is inhabited by the oxygen above the window, allowing the liquid to flow under the printed part through the dead zone. The above mechanism allows light to partly cure the resin along the vertical axis. The above process is called continuous liquid interface production, which fixes the shape of the object with a smooth surface. To activate the uncured part, the object has to be baked in the oven. During this process, chemical reaction is triggered. changing the chemical properties of the material such that the mechanical structure of the object is strengthened. So DLS 3D printing can be applied to quite a number of areas, from automotive to fashion industry, depending on the material used. Epoxy has high temperature resistance, so it can be used to make parking brake brackets. Rigid polyurethane is a strong and versatile material, so that it can be used for making push-in reflex, that type of end-use products. This is an autonomous handling robot, which is designed to pick up things like how human does. The gripper part has to be strong and pliable at the same time. Elastomeric polyurethane is a suitable material for printing out the gripper part. So there are three main types of 3D printing technologies available at this moment: fused deposition modeling, stereolithography, selective laser sintering. So DLS belongs to SLA. When compared with the other two, SLA is excellent in printing parts with high resolution and smooth surface finish. It also has the widest range of applications, thanks to its great variety of resins. Does anyone remember the box that I showed you at the beginning? It coincidentally has a similar size as the screw compressor rotor produced by Carbon. So let us have a side-by-side comparison between the surface finish of DLS and FDM. As you can see, the difference is pretty visible, so the DLS one is better than the FDM. How about comparing DLS with traditional SLAs? Here is a close-up of the surface finish of the two. As DLS 3D printing process has an ongoing nature, it will not create layer lines in the part like traditional SLAs. Before I put an end to my sharing, let me show you one last picture. This old lovely lady has a very charming smile, hasn't she? But can you notice that her teeth are printed by DLS 3D printer? She can express her happiness confidently because she has got her customized denture that fits her perfectly, that is comfortable to wear, and most importantly, that is functional. This technology allows us to customize products with high accuracy and quality that improves the world from different directions. So today, I've talked about the overall mechanisms of DLS 3D printing, some of its applications and benefits. I hope you gained some insights on this amazing technology. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
So if you have any question, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, the question is about weaknesses or some sort of constraints.
Oh. When compared with this one, this is printed by FDM, which is a fused deposition modeling. So if we print out things with FDM, it's much cheaper, and it's good for like designers to know how does it look for primary usages. But if you want to print out really detailed, refined products, of course, you may choose SLAs and what I mentioned, digital light synthesis, as it provides a much refined and detailed work. And I didn't put it in the presentation because it would be too long, but I also mentioned the other one. So the other one is called, let me see. So selective laser sintering is more commonly used to produce end-use products when compared with traditional SLAs because it can print products with higher accuracy. But because the technology I just mentioned is quite new, so I still haven't found a really valid comparison between DLS with selective laser sintering. So I can't tell which one can print out parts with high accuracy, but I would say they are pretty similar in that part. So when compared with the FDM, it's a bit more expensive, but the product produced would have high quality.
Okay, one follow-up question is concerning these three kinds of 3D printing technologies. Yeah, any comments? The ones for medical uses. Okay, good, interesting question.
Okay. Let's see. So, how can I? Okay.
Yeah, can you? The chat window. Yeah, see.
Which of the three types of 3D printing are used for medical uses? If 3D printing seldom used for mechanical uses, but just what I've shown, DLS 3D printing can be used for dental usage, like printing the denture, because it can be customized for the patient, so it will fit the patient perfectly, which is what everyone wants. And I hear there's 3D printing food. Could you share what type of 3D printing is used? Sorry, I don't. I just done my research on printing plastic, so I didn't touch on the food part, which also interests me. So I may do my research afterwards. But yeah, sorry, I don't know about that.
Yeah. If some other students got something new that which can be shared, of course, it would be a nice platform. But anyway, thank you very much. Wow, we learned something new today. Good. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot. All right, the last team, are you going to move on, or you would like to give your presentations next Tuesday? Give me some ideas about your preference.
We would like to do it today. Can we do it?
I'm fine. What about other students? I guess of course, if you're available, let's support the last team. Yeah, okay, great. But no pressure at all. Yeah, zero. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me share the screen. I want to give our website for CUHK students to refer to when seeking information and reviews about courses. And it's called Study Guide for University Students. So basically, it provides academic help for CUHK students. For example, you can find study partners or form a study group with the students who are studying the same course with you. We want to build a platform for exchange by forming a community that everyone can help each other. And we'll tell you more details later. So now I'm going to start my own informative presentation on user privacy. So here comes the first question. Why user privacy is so important? Let's take a look at the scandal of Facebook in 2014. In 2014, Facebook sent an invitation to its users, asking them to take a personality quiz. 270,000 people took the quiz. Meanwhile, their personal data were collected secretly, and their friends as well. That means even though you didn't download Facebook, your personal data can also be collected. Just because one of your friends took an online quiz. It turned out that some of the data was sold to Cambridge Analytica, which is a British political consulting firm. News report found out that the firm used those data to manipulate the results of 2016 US president election and UK Brexit referendum. So from this example, it shows that if a company didn't handle its user privacy properly and seriously, it will cause inevitable influence on the society. Therefore, it brings us to the second question. How can developers protect user privacy? There are two common ways to protect user privacy. Let's start with the easier one first, distortion. It means the misrepresentation of IDs and attributes through cherry picking and graphical warping techniques. The purpose is to distort the reality by affecting readers' interpretation. So what is cherry picking? Take a look at the back in your left-hand side. If you just look at the surface, it looks like there is a bag of coins, right? In fact, there is some stone in the bottom. Therefore, you can't see the big picture if you only look at the surface. Applying the same concept to user privacy, it means that if someone wants to steal the data, he or she needs to get full access on the whole set of data, instead of one small section only. In that way, user privacy can be protected. The second technique is graphical warping, which means that we are trying to present data in a complex way. In other words, we are trying to create a confusion, like playing a magic trick. Let's say we want to know the increase of Adeline's salary in the past few months. Here's a graph. It looks great, right? It keeps going up rapidly. But if we put it into a larger scale from 0 to 100%, I don't think Adeline will be satisfied with the increase of her salary. If we apply the same concept to process users' data, we can protect it. Apart from distortion, anonymization is another approach. It means that we are trying to remove some personal data from the big source. One of the techniques is generalization. Let me give you an example to show you how does it work. This is an aerial view of a residential area, and I am living in B4. If you want to find me, it's easy, right? You know my exact location, so there's no way for me to hide from you. What if we make a little change by grouping 9 blocks into one grid? Now I'm in A2, but there are 9 to Sarah sold 6 pair of jeans. To protect customers' privacy, mathematical noise is added to the data. In this way, the exact number of jeans bought by each customer is known. But we can still know the sales of the new jeans by viewing the data output. So actually you can buy 20 pair of jeans at once, and no one will blame you for wasting resources. So in the past few minutes, I introduced 4 techniques for developer to protect user privacy and explain the importance of user privacy. I hope you can learn something after my presentation. That's all I want to talk about today. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Lost me to start.
Let me stop the sharing. Which technique is better? I think it depends on the type of data that you want to protect. If it's a location or a set of number, I think anonymization is more suitable. Actually, Google used anonymization techniques to protect user privacy, like area codes and phone numbers. They apply both techniques that I've mentioned, generalization and differential privacy.
Any other questions? Thanks so much, Cyril. Thanks for your sharing. Thank you. All right. So yeah, great. Okay, but what about the others? I mean, 3 teammates. I got to report a little bit, right? Okay. So now, apart from Adeline, I guess Nikki's with us, right? Only one. Yeah. Oh, thanks so much for giving them so much support. Good. All right. So yeah. Okay. So yeah. Thanks. So would you like to move on, or you would like to? I mean, give your presentation next Tuesday. No pressure. Just let me know how you feel about the arrangements, because it's related to your, your performance, your grades, and so on. Yeah. I'm open anyway. Huh? Yeah. Okay. I'm fine. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Hi. So just
Great.
just give me a moment. I'll just share my screen. Can you see my screen? All right.
Yeah.
So I'll probably start. Right. So Thanks for tuning in. So today I'll talk a bit about data security and management. So I'm pretty sure that all of you know what data is. Today I'm going to extend on the knowledge a bit by discussing a bit more about security and management. Right. So before I start, I'm going to need a volunteer. So anyone willing to volunteer here?
Yeah, I'm in.
Oh, thank you. So Zero, right? So
Yeah.
let's have a deal here. So the deal is that I'll give you $100, but in return you'll have to give me the access to your Instagram, your Facebook, and your Twitter account for 1 month, and I'll be able to do whatever I like. Do you think it's a fair deal for you, giving $100 for your private data access?
I think the amount is not enough. I think you have to increase
Right.
the amount.
So that tells us that we actually value our data a lot, right? So think about the big corporations, the Apple, Google, Amazon, JP Morgan, etc. These companies also value the data a lot, right? So imagine what would happen if these big companies actually suffered a data breach. It would wreak havoc on them, right? So actually a similar thing happened to Yahoo. I'm pretty sure that all of you know what Yahoo is. It was very relevant a few years back, but today that the relevancy I think have decreased a lot. So what happened was in 2013, Yahoo actually faced a huge data breach. So what actually happened was a Russian hacker actually intruded and stole all of its user data. So basically it had around 3 billion users at that time, and the hacker managed to take all of the data with him, and this led to Yahoo facing a huge monetary loss. So for starters, Yahoo spent around $500 million in lawsuits, settlements, and legal charges. But do you think that due to this data breach, Yahoo only suffered monetary losses? No. So Yahoo actually suffered from customer unconfidence. So what happened was customers couldn't trust Yahoo anymore, and their public confidence actually plummeted, and as a result, this actually led to the downfall of Yahoo. So I'm pretty sure that you all know that we don't use Yahoo much anymore. So I think this tells us why that's the case, right? So as you can tell, the data security is very important in our world, right? So now let's say Yahoo chose to invest a lot in data security previously before the data breach occurred. Would it have made a difference for Yahoo? Well, the answer is yes, it would have made a difference. So according to research, the companies that spend more on data security actually have to spend less than half in case a data breach occurs. Now, you might ask me, well, how can companies implement data security? Well, they can implement data security in two ways. Well, the first one is advanced data encryption system. Well, you might ask me, well, that's very technological and geeky stuff. Well, bear with me, I'm going to explain it in a very simple manner. So, well, think that you have a very valuable item, for example, a valuable diamond ring, and one day a thief choose to enter your home. Would you want the diamond ring to be in front of your house, or would you keep it in a safe, locked it in another safe in a very secure place? I'm pretty sure that all of you would choose the second option, right? Well, that's basically how data encryption works. It's basically encrypting the data at every checkpoint. So even if an intrusion occurs, the intruder can't get to the data at first glance. He'd have to pass all the security steps, then get to the data, which gives us more time to adapt and stop the intrusion, right? Well, the second point is internal encryption. Well, I'm pretty sure that all of you remember the example of Yahoo I gave a bit earlier. Well, the Yahoo data breach occurred because of an employee who was targeted to a phishing campaign. Well, what happened was that that employee had access to a lot of data, basically the whole of the database, and when the intruder or the hacker targeted him and managed to get his credentials, he managed to take all of the data. And now imagine if that employee didn't have access to all of the data, rather he had an access to a small part of the data. Wouldn't it have been a better in that case? Well, I'm pretty sure that it would have been better because if he had less access to the data, the intruder wouldn't have got the access to the whole database. Rather, he would have been happy with a small amount of data. Well, that's basically what internal encryption means. Well, now you might ask me, what about general users? Well, before I start, I'd like to share a fun fact with you. Well, in this classroom, we have two people whose data is already breached right now. Well, I didn't know that before this presentation. You can check by going to this website, haveibeenpwn.com, and you can find whether your email address is out on the web, right? Well, I'm pretty sure that all of you are familiar with spam mail, right? So how does it work? So basically, when an intruder collects the data, he puts it on a bid, and a broker buys the data, and subsequently he sells it to an advertiser, and the advertiser spams his mail addresses. So that's basically how we receive so many spam mails these days. Well, you might ask me, what can be done to be safe from this data intrusion? Well, first of all, you can use a very strong password and change it very often. Secondly, use a very good VPN whenever you're using public networks, in public Wi-Fi's, public networks. Thirdly, be aware of clickbait mails and ads. For example, click here, you'll get $20,000. You have won a lottery, something like that. So be aware of that. Well, before I finish, I'd like to share a famous quote from a Silicon Valley CEO. Well, he said that passwords are like underwear. You shouldn't let people see it. You should change it very often, and you shouldn't share it with strangers, right? Well, that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention and time. Do we have any questions here? Thank you. I think I do have a question here. How can we tell if we could trust a company is dealing with our data? Alright, so first of all, you can check the user privacy policy. I think before you sign up to any social media account, I think that it provides an account that I have read all the user privacy agreements. So I suggest that go through that list. I think it might be a bit tedious, but going through it might be worth it, because the companies usually like to hide a lot of things in that agreement. So if you don't like it, please don't sign up for that. So that would be advice for dealing with companies. Right, I think we had up another question. Well, what is the motivation for data breachers? Well, I'd say the primary motivation for data breachers is monetary. So what data breachers look for is they try to collect all of the data and try to sell it at a high price. As I mentioned earlier, they put it on a bid. So it's like a very financial based motivation for them. Thank you for your questions. Do we have any more questions here? Right, thank you.
Thanks so much. Wonderful. Great. Okay.
Well, if you have any further queries, you can always leave me a mail at this is my mail address. I'll try my best to answer. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks so much.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye. Great.
Hello.
Hi, dear.
Let me share my PPT.
Sure. Take your time.
Okay.
Yeah, just relax. Great.
Can you see it?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. I'm gonna keep an eye on the time.
Me too, I will help you. No worry.
So, okay, I'm gonna start.
At any time, yeah.
Good morning or afternoon, fellow teammates and Nikki and Adeline. Today for my informative presentation, I will be talking about wireframes. I cannot go next. Oh, here.
Yeah.
To start off our day, let's put ourselves in the shoes of either Maurice Kekla or Émile Longuet, who were engineers and the original designers of the Eiffel Tower. So I'd imagine the first things they considered was the physical requirements. Are the materials strong enough to support all the people and the machinery in the building? Will the materials be able to stand the test of time? And the details of the building itself, the height, the width of the hallways, does the door swing in or out, and the setting. Is this location accessible to delivery of the materials, and does the nature of these adjacent areas complement the aesthetic of the building? And lastly, what will happen if a person enters through door A rather than door B, or reaches the monument through route A rather than route B? Will it affect the individual's experience, or will it still live up to the expected standards. And what are the expected standards? So hypothetically, designing a monument is rather similar to designing a website or an app. The designers in this case would be UX designers, UX standing for user experience. And some of the things they'd have to consider would be the placement of images, logos, search fields, if a button is clicked on, what will happen, or simply hovered over. Do they have different functionalities? And does the hyperlink redirect the user to another web page, or just the information, the location of the information in the same web page? And then the pseudo-Latin placeholder text. Is it a heading, body, caption of an image, anything else? What is the font size, style, color? And lastly, the user flowchart. Similar to the user experience as mentioned in the previous slide, this maps out all the possible series of events that could take place from the start of the website or app all the way to the end of it. So in a nutshell, a wireframe is an image or a series of images that represent a 2D skeletal outline of an app or a website. It is analogous to the architectural blueprint of a building or the storyboard of a movie, TV show, or even a YouTube video. So why is it important? First and foremost, organizational purposes. We use outlines all the time for planning out our essays, presentations, events, and similarly, a wireframe provides a clear overview of the website or app and its intended purposes. Secondly, and more crucially, is to initiate communication. The stakeholders are the one with the understanding and knowledge of the product, and the UX designers take that information that needs to be put up for the audience and tailors it towards the audience's needs, which they identify in phase 1 of development of a wireframe, which is the ideation phase. So a rough and basic wireframe is created, which acts as an initial iteration and is continuously modified according to the feedbacks they receive in phase 2, which is the validation phase. This results in it being more user focused, because as the wireframes are shown to stakeholders and audiences, the feedback provides clarity and defines the features of the web page in a simple and efficient manner. So the initial wireframe created is a low fidelity wireframe, which is basic and very rough, essentially used for mapping user flow. It is then refined into a mid-fidelity wireframe, which is a little more detailed and differentiates specific components. This can be done either through using different shades of grayscale or using different font sizes or style. And then in the validation phase, when after all the feedback received when shown to the audience members or the stakeholders, it develops into a high-fidelity wireframe, which is more detailed and it includes all the images and text relevant to the concept. This is used for exploring more complex concepts, such as navigating through the site or app. So lastly, this is an example of a user flowchart using mid-fidelity wireframes. This is when the visitor enters the site and when they choose products to buy, all the way to buying it and their receipt. So thank you and these are my references. So thank you for listening to my presentation.
That's great, good. Nicely done. Yeah.
Wait, how to see the chart? Oh, here. Oh, there is a question. Do you think the more refined and initial wireframe is the better?
That's good.
The initial wireframe is a low fidelity wireframe and it's in phase 1. So the early stages require a quantity. put quantity over quality, because then it allows them to see the highlights and disadvantages of each type of wireframe. So if it's more detailed, it's going to be, the energy is going to be wasted because you're gonna use only one of it. And so I think the more ideas it'll be, the better, but it doesn't have to be refined as much as the high fidelity. Anything else?
So what's the key, ideas that you got about your new project, your project, something that, after doing your research, have you discovered anything which is, you think, okay, super, super useful for the for the project?
In here, well, it's essentially, I never really thought like how important quantity would be when designing a website. It's always like you have an idea and you just put it, but then when you show it to, because for example, when this presentation, I thought it was okay initially, but then when I did rehearsal with like you and the other teammates, that's when I was like, oh, I should have more information here and there. So I think when creating a wireframe, it's more important to think of other aspects like structural, functional, rather than just being like, oh, it should be functional because the students need to see this. But we should think more about like different audiences as well.
Yeah, well, I think we have totally agree. Yes, about, for your potential users, and then of course, you think about their needs, what's the best, design for them. Yes, rather than, that's how you strike a balance, of course. That's difficult. Oh, okay. Well, one more question. Oh, good. Thanks, Nikki.
What do you consider a good wireframe?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
A good wireframe, it depends on which wireframe. If it's the initial design, as mentioned before, it should be, it acts as an initial iteration. So it should be at a stage where you can develop it more, but not as refined as well. So I think a good wireframe is developed when you show it to other people as much as you can, and it essentially helps you with developing the website or the app, but it shouldn't be it shouldn't be at the point where you're just going to sign off. It should have room for improvement as well. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, great, yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for sharing. Great, yeah. Thank you.
Hi.
Last but not least, hi.
Can you hear me?
Sure.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
No problem. Perfect.
Okay.
You may start at any time.
Okay. So, hi, this is Sonia, and today I will talk about web development. So before I start, may I know how many of you want to build a website on your own? Please use the reaction button. Let me know yes, no, or are you already an expert? Okay, yes. Wow, okay. Almost all of you want to build a website on your own. Okay, guys, I promise after my presentation, you will be able to do that in 20 minutes. I'm not kidding. Stick to it. Okay, let's get started. So this is the flow of my sharing. I will first help you review the basic structure of a website, and then introduce you to different methods you can use to build a web, and finally, how you can kickstart your web easily. So first, the basic structure of a website. In web development, we mainly have two parts, the front end and the back end. So in front end, we have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I will use the house as an analogy. So HTML is to form the basic structure of the web, and like in a house, how many rooms you have and where you want to put a kitchen. And CSS is to style the website, like you decorate your house to make it more stylish and more beautiful. And finally, JavaScript is to define the function and interaction of the site, like when you switch a button, which light you want to turn on, like that. So basically, front end is the design what the user can see, and the other parts, the back end, it includes the server, setting up the server and the database. So server is to handle the user request. When user click a button, what should we send to him or her? And the database, as you all may know, is to store all the information. Yeah. So after understanding the basic structure of a website, we can see the different methods we can use to build a website. So let's just say the fundamental way, hire a web designer. You can get a super professional website, but it can take a long time and it can cost a lot. It can cost about $300 to $10,000. Yeah, and it's without the maintaining fee. So, but a good news, now today we can build a website on our own without any experience with the website builder. There are many website builder providers available now. They are super easy to use and they include everything. It will only cost you about $12 to $15 per month. You only need to drag and drop the content and edit till you're satisfied with the page. Yeah. So can we have a website totally free? Yes. You can try the WordPress. This is an open source. It's totally free. You only need to pay some maintenance fee if you want to run the website in the long term. It will cost only $3 to $10, and it is super customizable compared to the web builder we have done here. Yeah, but one disadvantage of it is it can be a bit hard to learn. So up till now, you may wonder, what methods should I use? All methods are for building a website. Should I just go for the cheapest one? Okay, it's not that simple. The key factor is what kind of website do you want. If you just want a simple portfolio or a simple website to sell something, you can go for the web builder. Or if you want your website to be more creative and a bit more professional, you can try the WordPress. But finally, if you don't want to do it yourself or your website is super complicated, then hire a professional. Yeah. But what if I don't want to do anything with my website? I just want to play with it. There's a simple method you can follow to kickstart your own website. It will take only 20 minutes to build it. So there are mainly two parts. First is launch your website, and second, design your website. Okay, and first, how to launch a website without having any. You only need to get an address for your website. There is a profreehost.com. You can get a free one, but since it's free, there's some limitation. There's some extra extension like aux.com other than mysite.com. If you want to get a totally customized address, you may need to pay something. Yeah, after you get an address, you can launch it. You will get something like this. And then second stage, we only need to log into this page as an admin by putting like /wp-admin, and then you can design your web. You only need to choose a design and then edit the content with drag and drop. You can follow the whole full tutorial on YouTube, like how to create a free website. Yeah, so this is the end of my presentation. In conclusion, building the way a website run can be a bit complicated, but the way it built can be very easy. So the key factor is you have to know what you want and choose the right platform to get started. But if you just want to play with it, there is a totally free and easy method you can try. Why not just try it? Yeah. And these are some references I used, and this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening. Any questions? I will try my best to answer. I get some. Okay. The difference of WordPress and web builder. So WordPress is not a web builder. It is basically a CMS, content management system. It's like the Google Doc or Google Doc. Like when you want to use some extra function, like exerting a math equation or something, you need to plug in some extension, something like this. So in WordPress, if you want to design a web page, you have to plug in another web designer to choose the themes and design everything. But for web builder, it's all in one. It's include everything there. You just need to the theme is present there. Just need to drag and drop. Like it's like the whole well-functioned Microsoft Word compared to the doc. Yeah. And there's one more point. There's WordPress.com and WordPress.org. WordPress.com is web builder, and WordPress.org is a CMS. More mobile friendly. Okay, I think when you use the template web builder, you only need to edit the content, and most of them it's already designed to be mobile friendly. But if you are going to write your own CMS and HTML code, I think there are lots of work to do that. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not expert in web building. I just try the easy web builder and WordPress.
But maybe now you have more ideas about your project. I mean, say the one that you would like to try, or right.
So at first, I don't think we can really build our project. I think it will be just an idea. But now I think it's feasible.
Yeah, of course. Well, but then, I mean, give you more ideas about maybe, say, your final year project or something that you might explore in the coming time, right? And do your research. Yes. That would be great. Anyway, it's a good starting point. Yeah, so thank you very much, all of you. Done. I have to say, okay, done, and go and celebrate. That's nice. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for, your preparation work, efforts, time, whatever. Okay, have a drink, okay? Go and then celebrate. And good luck for the coming midterm tests. I know you guys are super, super busy. Okay, I will see you guys again next Tuesday. Take good care and, have a good day. Yeah, congrats, yeah. Yeah, okay. Thanks so much, Nikki. Thanks for staying with us. Goodbye, my dears. Yeah, good day. Bye then. Thanks so much. Bye then. Bye.